Let's get a quick look at today's business headlines. For help with that, we're going to bring in business and markets analyst and Newsmax contributor Seth Denson. Good morning, Seth.
Hey, good morning, y'all. Good to see you.
This
is a great Saturday. I get to spend it with you, too.
Rock on. All right. Now, the U.S. adding 390,000 jobs in May, beating expectations. We're going to break that down more. But first, let's start with the markets. The markets finishing down yesterday. Seth, what did investors see this week?
Well, it's not what they saw as much as what they heard. When you got people like Jamie Dimon coming out and say a hurricane's coming, you got Elon Musk coming out and saying, hey, things may be super bad, which is a technical term in the business world. Investors perk their ears up and say, you know, regardless of what the administration might say, I think we're going to trust those that are actually in business and see things coming. And while we had a good jobs report yesterday, it just wasn't enough to keep investors at bay.
And Seth, the national gas price right now is at $4.82. That's a jump of 22% over the past week. I'm already in Washington, D.C., paying over $5 a gallon for gasoline. And it just seems that there is no end in sight right now to these increasing gas prices. What are you forecasting?
Well, I got out of the forecasting on the gas prices business a while ago, but I will tell you, I do think we see it get near, if not above, $5. I say that while we did get a little bit of, we'll call it positive news this week out of OPEC that they're going to increase production over 600,000 barrels a day by July or August. That's towards the end of our rush season because summer months are higher. The problem is Russia specifically produced about 2.2 million barrels a day just for Europe alone. So their increased production doesn't even cover what Russia has reduced from Europe. And that oil is going to predominantly have to go to Europe. Until we get U.S. production increased here in the States, unfortunately, I just don't see gas prices going down.
Yeah, and you mentioned this, but let's go a little deeper here. Of course, Tesla's CEO Elon Musk saying, and you coined it a technical term, he has a super bad feeling about the economy, and he's looking to cut 10% of jobs from his company. Now, Seth, is this an overreaction by Musk, or will we see more CEOs follow suit? Especially because Elon said it was about a week or so ago that he thought the potential recession could be a good thing.
Yeah, you know, listen, as far as the jobs report out of Tesla, or the jobs prediction that Elon wants to do out of Tesla, I've not dove deep enough into the numbers to say if it's an overreaction or, you know, again, with Elon, you just never know. Tomorrow he might sing a different tune, but the markets will react appropriately. You know, that being said, I do think employers are going to start to look at ways to tighten the belt. And I know that the jobs report's good. And by and large, if you look across the United States, there are many more jobs available than there are people to fill them. But I think that employers are going to start to try to find ways to reduce that, to change that, to be more efficient and effective with what they've got. Because if this storm is brewing, employers across the country are going to have to find a way to make sure they protect their EBITDA or their overall margin. I say this all the time. Margin is mobile. And what they're going to have to do is find a new way to move that margin somewhere else. And if it's either on the backs of employees or on the backs of consumers, but either way, they're going to try not to get squeezed.
Seth, I want to pivot really quickly before we go to the baby formula crisis right now. As I was reporting yesterday, the Department of Health and Human Services is going to be launching that investigation into the FDA, and the timeline is going to be very critical here on how it handled this. It's going to be looking at certainly when it looked into those whistleblower reports in October. And subsequently, when it initiated that inspection of the plant. All of this, though, as parents are still struggling to find formula on the shelves right now. Who owns this crisis?
Well, listen, I mean, there's a lot of fingers to point around, and until we get that report, you don't know, because what you don't want to see happen is contaminated formula getting into the mouths of babies. Then we're all going to say, why didn't the government do more, right? The challenge we have is that one single manufacturer controls 40% of our market share. So this is capitalism, though. Unless we get more people competing for this, it's hard to point the singular finger at any one person. Obviously, Abbott Labs is going to hold some of the responsibility. But my hope is, as we come out of this, is that more and more innovators and current producers of other things look at it and say, you know, the baby formula market might be something we can get involved in. That's my hope. Until then, I'm going to withhold judgment on who actually is to blame until I see all the information.
Well, still remarkable that the president only found out 2 months after they found out about the prospect of the shortage and admitting that to reporters that he didn't know in April.
Exactly. All right. So So many questions, so little time. Seth Denson, thanks for being with us. Have a great weekend.
See ya.